All right, we're going to start the webinar in just a few minutes. Can't believe how many people we got on here today. That's awesome. We got a few stragglers. We're just going to wait here one more minute for the rest of the people to get in. If you haven't done so already, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, get ready to take some notes. Everything we show you today, you can do on your own. You are your absolute best promoter. No one can promote your business better than you. We're going to show you how you can do it or how we can do it for you. Also, at the end of the webinar, we're going to have a Q&A session, so stick around for that. There's also going to be a way for you to save a ton of money at the end of the webinar. I'm sure you've got questions. There's not a person out there right now without questions, so please stick around to the end. We'll have time to answer some of the questions then. Also, everyone just for attending, you get $750 in bonuses. We're going to give you that at the end as well, and we'll get started here. All right, let's go ahead and get started. You there, Ron?
I am.
All right, perfect. Okay, good deal. So a little bit about me. I started my first vending business when I was 20 years old. I got 100 of these little machines, and I went out in the door-to-door heat, putting these machines out. It was very hard to do, but, I kind of mastered it. And then other people started asking me to locate their machines. That's how Kickstart Locations was born. We're leaders in the industry. We're the biggest, we're the fastest growing locating company in North America.
Excuse me, but I'm only seeing a blank screen. I'm just wondering if other people are seeing just that also.
All right. Well, let's restart that here. Let me make sure everyone can see the screen.
I thought it was me, and it could be.
No, I think you're right.
You're the techie guy. I'm not the techie.
All right. Can everyone see it now?
There we go.
Okay, good. All right, so again, a little bit about me. There we go. You can see a picture of me and my machine there. And so Ron started in the vending business back in 1990. He is our Kickstart lead location consultant. Go ahead and say hello to everyone, Ron.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, I started in 1990 with snack machines and have enjoyed it ever since.
Ron's a great guy to work with, and he's got a lot of experience in the industry. All right, so let's move on here a little bit. Let's talk about the problem of getting high traffic locations. There's three things that we've kind of lumped in together. The first one is traditional locating methods. Essentially selling lukewarm leads, going door to door, or simply making phone calls and calling businesses, to get in there. If that's the only thing you're doing, it just doesn't work in today's world. Even if you do use a locator that says, we're going to call businesses and send you those leads, if that's all they're doing, when you get out there, they're going to be lukewarm. The businesses are only going to be half interested, and you're still going to have to do a lot of selling once you get there. That also has to do with the quality of locations. The quality is generally low with those. So let's move on to the solution today. We're going to talk about taking control of your locating. Stop banging on doors. Let the businesses actually come to you. And how do we do that? We utilize 21st century technology. So today there's going to be three segments. The first one is inflated expectations by suppliers of the vending equipment, also by other locating companies. They kind of inflate and tell you, how good things are going to be, how easy it's going to be. The second thing is, how to get into large companies and corporate locations. That's what everyone's here for. That's what everyone wants to know how to do. The third one, this is my favorite, that's building equity in your vending business. We're going to show you how you can not just turn it into a cash cow, a cash flow cow, but also how you can really build that equity so one day when you sell it, you can sell it for a lot of money. All right, so first topic, let's get to it right now. That is inflated expectations. In the chat box right now, I want to see if anyone out there used a locator or got a business in a box thing and they sold you dreams, hopes and dreams, and then you felt let down at the end of that.
I'm sure you're getting some ones in the chat box there now.
Yeah.
It's got to be, because I've talked to these people, I know.
Yeah. The ones are flowing in. All right. So as far as inflated expectations, if you hired a locator out there, you know, they probably didn't train you on what to do or say when you actually went out to the business. You know, they didn't tell you you were still going to be selling. You know, you probably end up with mom and pop shops. You know, if you know, also the supplier, the business in a box, you know, if you got into the healthy vending thing and they sold you a bunch of machines and said, you know, we're going to get all the locations for you, and then they didn't end up getting them for you, trust me, you are not alone. I'll put one more, put a 1 in the chat box. You know, if you've spent, you know, $10, $20, $30,000, maybe you're feeling disgusted with the business, maybe the wife or husband's mad at you, and you've still got machines in the garage. Put a 1 in the chat box if you've still got some machines in the garage. Okay, those ones are coming in a lot quicker here. All right. All right, trust me, you are not alone. We deal with that every day. Ron talks to people in that situation absolutely every day. You want to talk? Do you want to say anything about inflated expectations, Ron?
You know, it's just what it does is it makes our job tougher because people think they're lied to so much, and by the time they get to us and we tell them the real world, it makes our job a lot tougher. But it's just part of our. We know it's just something that we have to deal with, and that's the way it is. But you know, that's really what really irks me is how much it makes. How much tougher it makes our job.
Well, you know, it's true. I mean, I can understand. People have become a little bit jaded. You know, they thought they were getting one thing and then they didn't get it. But we understand. We hear it all day. You're not alone. Trust me on that. So let's get to the main topic here today, and that is getting high traffic locations, right? So the old way of doing things was basically banging, you know, going door to door, you know, cold calling businesses, and that was it. You know, you used to look up, you know, if you're looking for a service like a vending service in the old days, you know, you'd pull out the yellow pages and you'd scroll through and you'd find a vending business. But nowadays, that's just not working. You know, Google and Yahoo are the new yellow pages, right? So the number one problem is letting businesses know you actually exist. So you can see right here, this is a sample. This is one of our clients, and if you type in Naperville Vending in Google, this is his ad that shows up at the very top of Google. This whole top portion up here is his, okay? So you can see, Naperville area business, get a free vending machine. So it's very clear to anyone in Naperville that's looking for vending service what it is that we're offering. Are you a Naperville area business? Yes, I am. Get a free vending machine. Then you can see there's other options there. You can see contact us, the products we offer, you know, the service area, it lists some of the cities there, and then also get a free vending machine. So if they want, they can click that button and get a free vending machine for their customers or employees today. We want to talk about a little bit of this because this is the biggest problem vending companies have, and that is drawing the businesses in, right? So if you look here, you can see a little sample down here. This is actually for the webinar we're running tonight. This is a little split test we did. What this means is we run 2 ads at the top of Google, and we see which one is clicked on more. So you can see this top one here. Free live webinar, get high traffic vending locations. And then the second ad is get high traffic vending locations, free live webinar. All we did was switch the words around. On one, free live webinars first. On the second one, get high traffic vending locations is first. If you look at the right column, you're going to see the percentage. 16% of people that saw the bottom ad clicked on it, where only approximately 5% that saw the top ad clicked on that. So you can see testing these things out makes a huge difference in promoting yourself to businesses and getting them to actually take action and click. What you're seeing here, this ad you see for Naperville Vending, this is one that we've tested. We've split tested once, we've split tested twice, again and again until it's the absolute rock solid ad that we know is the best converting. So a little bit about this ad. You know, it draws people in, it tells them what they're getting, and it also mentions the service area right there up the front, Naperville area. Boom. Also, there's one thing called a Google tax. This is something that most people don't really realize about it. But when you first start running ads, Google charges you a lot more per click, right? So through that learning curve, you know, you're paying a lot more per click. A lot of people don't understand that, and a lot of people actually give up before they ever get through that so-called Google tax where they're charging you a lot more per click. You know, something ironic Ron and I run into a lot is that we actually, you know, as locations come into us, if we don't have a client in that area, we're going to go look for a client so we can get a vendor out to service that business. Ron, tell them a little bit about how hard it is sometimes to find a vendor, in whatever given city it is.
Yeah, it's crazy in the fact that you start Googling, just like it says there, Naperville Vending, okay, and so calling and getting disconnected numbers, okay, getting people that don't get back to you. I mean, it can take a lot of phone calls to give away a business that is literally 100 employees with 20, 50 foot traffic a day. I mean, it's ridiculous is what it is. Which is great for us, though, because there's so many people coming into the business, and it just keeps a nice steady market for us. But it's sad that it has to be that way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the problem of not knowing that a vending company exists is so big, it's unbelievable, and we're learning that more and more and more as it's difficult for us to find clients in specific areas to take these vending accounts.
Yeah.
And great accounts. I mean, we're not talking little baby accounts. We had an apartment building with 300 units come in the other day. We had a Volvo car dealership, a big one, come in, and we couldn't find a vendor in the area to take it from us. Okay, so let's move on to the second thing here, and that is building credibility, right? So the first thing you do is you draw them in, but after that, then you've got to build credibility so they know you're a real business and they know you can actually service them. So here's a sample website. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this website here. Besides just looking professional and beautiful, you can see right on the home page, welcome to Decatur Vending. That's the service area, and it's very clear. Get a free vending machine for your business. We provide free vending service at no cost to you, right? That's called the call to action, and there it is right there, right out front. It jumps at you. You can get your free vending machine. All you got to do is fill in those 3 little things and click Get Started. All right. And by the way, this is all above the fold, meaning this is what they see. They don't have to scroll at all to know exactly what your site is for. All right, so let's move on to the second thing, and that is website tips, part 1. There's 3 things here, right? The first one is having a location-centric domain. So what does that even mean? That means if you can get, if you're in Houston and you can get HoustonVending.com, that automatically makes you the #1 authority for vending in Houston. It doesn't get better than that. The second thing is a free machine call to action that we just talked about. Here's one of the forms that we have here. Get my free machine now, and then you can even see the button. Drives it right home. Request a free machine. The third thing is very, very important, maybe the most important, is having a service area map. I can't tell you how many websites we go to for vendors that don't have service area maps. Why would a company want to use your vending service if they don't even know if you service their area? You've got to have a service area map. There's one other thing I want to mention, and that is landing pages for each town. So you can see here in this service area, it lists all the towns by name. If you click on any of those towns, it's going to have a landing page specific for that town. That helps with SEO. It also helps make sure that a business relates to the business more if the top of the page says, for example, Houston, Texas, or Stafford, Texas, versus a generic, Houston area vending type deal. Anything you want to say on this website tips part 1, Ron?
Well, yeah, in the fact that that's a twofold positive there, in that it gets more locations because of proximity to the company looking for machines, but also it also is stronger in the search engines. You mentioned SEO, that search engine optimization. As time goes on and the website gets stronger and stronger in the search engines and gets a stronger base, it gets a better foothold and gets better results in the organic section of the first page of Google, meaning that it's going to show up for free in the middle of the page, not in the paid section, in the AdWords section at the top or on those 10 on the right. And that's strong because that's free advertising that is going to be there month after month after month after month, and that's very strong. So it's really a twofold positive scenario.
Absolutely, Ron's right. Number one, it helps for having a landing page that's city-centric is perfect. The second thing is obviously for SEO, so you move to the top of Google. By the way, we've had a bunch more people join on the webinar. We're just getting started, so you haven't missed too much. Welcome on board. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about here is Website Tips Part 2. And there's a few things here that are very important. Number one is having a product list by category. This way, businesses can actually see all of the products you offer and quickly click on them. So they can see all the beverages, the candy, the chips, the nuts and fruit, the pastries, the snack bars. They're not buying, they're not getting vending machines. They're not buying a vending machine. They're buying into the service and the products that you offer. The second thing is having a list, a display of the machines that you offer. By the way, these don't need to be machines that you actually have in stock. These could be machines you would potentially purchase if you get into a huge, huge location. So if you get into a 500 employee business, yeah, of course you're going to buy one of these big, fancy, nice machines to put in it. You don't have to have it stocked, but it's nice to have it on your website because, for one, it makes the business feel like they've got a little bit of decision-making power in the whole thing. And it also gives an air of making you look much bigger than you actually are. And the third thing here is it's very appealing to larger corporate accounts because it shows them that you're going to be able to take care of all of their needs. Anything else you want to add in here, Ron?
It just goes back to credibility. It really does. It gives a lot of credibility, and it really, from the location standpoint, makes them feel like they're part of the whole program, so that they can pick and choose what they want for their employees and or customers. And so when they feel like they're a part of it, they're more apt to be. It increases the receptivity. That's what it does.
Absolutely, and we can't tell you how many clients we've had where a business is researching vendors and they chose our vendor because they love the website and everything on it. Actually, you know what? Let's show them a sample website here real quick. That'll be nice. That way they can kind of see what it looks like. Okay, so here's one. Here's a Sugar Land, Texas website that we put together. You can see Welcome to Sugar Land Vending. Sugar Land is a city in Texas. You can see a picture of Texas back there, so it makes it even more clear about what it is. If we scroll down here, it says Why Sugar Land Vending. It talks about all their positive attributes, gives a little picture of one of their sample machines. And then down here, most important, gives a service area map. You can instantly see the areas they service visually and listed. If you click on any of these, let's say it's Stafford, Texas, you click on that, and it's going to bring you to a landing page just for Stafford, Texas, where they can go ahead and get their free machine. No matter where they're at on the site, you want to give them the ability to click Get Started and request that free machine instantly. Let's go to the products page so you can kind of see what the products look like. You can click on any section, and it's going to load up those products. So now they have an option. They can see all of the stuff that you have to offer, which is awesome. If you click on Our Machines, this is key. You really need to have a listing of all the machines so they can visualize it, look at it, and let's add one more layer of credibility here. You click on a picture of a machine, and boom, now you get details and features about that machine. It just makes your business look really credible and much, much bigger than it actually is. Anything else you want to say about the website, Ron, or want me to go over?
Some people are looking at the machines and saying, "Well, gosh, I don't have those machines." But you know what? If you get a 500 employee business and you need one of these big machines, that's a good problem to have, okay? Because even if you didn't have the money to buy the machine, you could always sell that location for $1,500. That's the reality. So I mean, there's just the fact of having the air of being bigger just gives so much credibility, and like I said, it connects the location to the whole scenario so much better. So it really, I mean, it's just a super positive.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ron's totally right on that. Yeah, so I mean, there's 5 main sections on the website, but really the majority of the stuff is all on the homepage. It tells them where you're at, tells you about your business, gives them the service area map, and it lets them request that free machine. If they want to dive in deeper, that's great. But these are the main things you need to have. All right, let's get back to the presentation here.
On our website, there's some more examples of sample websites also.
Absolutely, yeah. On our website, we'll give you the URL. You can see, other samples of, nice websites we've done. So let's get on to cold calling tips, right? Because, everyone wants to know, well, how do you get locations? Well, number one is you drive them to you, right? You bring the businesses and let them come to you. That's through the website. The second thing is through cold calling. And we've got some tips here for cold calling. Number one question we get asked is, well, who do you even ask for when you call up? Or, what's your intro line? All you have to do is say, who's the HR manager? HR managers in large companies or corporations are generally the ones who handle vending. If it's a business that isn't quite that large, you would simply ask, who handles vending? Once you get through that, then when you get to that, you get to the right decision maker, then you want to see, are they happy? If they have a current vendor, are they happy with them? If they don't have a vendor, then you have an instant in. But if they do have a vendor already servicing them, are they happy? I can tell you right now, we get a lot of requests from businesses that are not happy with their current vendor and they just want someone else in there. The third thing is, do they have a vending contract, right? So if they're not happy, the next question out of your mouth needs to be, do you have a vending contract? If they do, then you need to ask them, well, do you know how long the contract is for? They're probably not going to know. That might be something where they have to look it up and get back with you, or you follow up with them. The most important thing out of this entire conversation with them is making sure you grab their email address, right? Because this is the point where you're going to be able to send them your website, any additional information about your business, and then you can also do what we call autoresponders, so you can constantly email them week after week, telling them about your vending business. That's what we call top of the mind marketing. And many of you are here on this webinar probably because you get constant emails from us. They're not emails that you're marking spam. They're just reminding you to do something or to take action. The other thing is, when you're calling businesses, if you're not able to reach the right person, you want to leave a voicemail with your website. One of the things that we do is we like to say, on a voicemail that, we just want to see, if we could offer you vending service. We don't know if you have vending machines right now, but if you do, we might be able to give you a more lucrative offer. So what's that telling them? If they're not happy with their vending machines, or they're not getting a commission, we don't like to give commission, but if we're just leaving a voicemail, we might as well try and lead them down the pathways any way we can. So we say, we can give you a more lucrative offer. Some other interesting things about telemarketing. It takes about 50 to 60 calls generally to get an appointment. That could be 2-3 hours on the phone. It really depends on your pitch and if you're able to get past the gatekeeper. I'll tell you a little bit of proprietary information about us. You probably don't need to know this, but I'll tell you anyway. We pay our head telemarketer $30 an hour. $30 an hour. And it's because he's a master at getting through gatekeepers. He's just a master at it. We could very easily get someone for $9 an hour. But, as I say, you kind of get what you pay for. What we do, we care, it's about getting results. It's not about hiring the cheapest person, that's just like a dead fish on the other end of the line. Anything else you want to say about cold calling, Ron?
No, it's just, it takes tenacity. If you're going to get on the phone and call businesses, you have to be ready for rejection, okay? A lot of people can't take rejection, but if you can, it's a good way to get the ball rolling. You just have to put that thick skin on, and know that people are they're gonna yell at you. They're gonna hang up on.
Whoop! Did I lose you, Ron? Hang on, not hearing Ron. I think I might have lost him. Just going to go ahead and say, can't hear you, Ron. Okay, I think we lost Ron, but that's all right. He'll hop back on here in a minute. Give me 1 second here. I just want to message Ron. No, Ron, we cannot hear you right now. And are you back, Ron?
Okay, how about that?
Okay, you're back. Okay, good.
Yeah, somehow I got muted on your end because I didn't touch anything here. But anyways,
Uh,
I was just I was saying how you just have to have tenacity. You gotta put the thick skin on, be ready for rejection. But if you can take the rejection, you're going to get some results. It's just a sheer numbers game. I've done it. I know. It's just pound the phone.
Absolutely. Ron's totally right there. But and as Ron always says though, you are the best promoter of your business. Can
Yeah.
someone else do it? Yes, but you have to get through the fear of rejection. But if you can, you're always going to be the best promoter of your business. All right, so let's move on to the next thing, and that is if you come on board with us, this is our telemarketing dashboard. And I'm just going to go through this so you can kind of see what it's like, so you can see how the cold calls are going. So up here at the top, this is what we call a daily call summary and then also your account summary. So you can see, specific dates, how many calls have been placed, and then how many locations or appointments have been made. So you can see there. At the top, you can see, the total calls, number of calls that came with your account, calls that have been placed, number of remaining calls, number of locations found, and then a really important thing is the location close ratio. So what that means is, if we make 100 calls and we get 2 locations out of it, then you're going to be right at about 2%. Down here below, you can kind of see, this is also a more granular thing on the bottom picture. You can see each call and the disposition. So, for example, lead status, attempted contact. That means we had to either, no answer, full mailbox, we got a call back tomorrow. Light green there means we pitched them. We gave them a website address, they're possibly interested, we sent them an email. A dark green means we actually got that location, right? They said, yeah, they're interested. We spoke with the decision maker. Maybe they're not happy with their current vendor. We went ahead and set an appointment, and then you would get, the recording of that location along with more details about it, obviously, when we lock that down. Red one there is not interested. So anything else you want to mention about that, Ron?
Yeah, Rob, I just wanted to throw this out here. If anybody's on this webinar and they're working with a locator now, we know every other locator only does telemarketing and that's it. So ask your telemarketer or your locator to see their dashboard. It isn't going to happen. So, just one of the many things that we do above and beyond everybody else that keeps the customer, the vendor, you folks on the webinar, connected so that you have your thumb on the pulse of what's going on when we're getting you locations. So important. There's
Absolutely.
no locator that can say that.
And you know what? And we go a step further, too, because we actually send the recording to you of location appointments that we get. Why do we do that? Because that way you know word for word exactly what happened on that phone call, and you can go into that business knowing what to expect, right? Do you know why no other company does that? Because they're scared to death of what the person on the other end of the phone is saying to the business. I guarantee you they are. One other thing I want to mention, right? Telemarketing is not the most effective way to acquire businesses. It really isn't. It gives you a kickstart to get started. It's about 20%.
Right.
That means every other locating company that's doing door-to-door doing telemarketing, they're missing out on 80% of the business because the businesses that come to you through the website are going to be 80% of what you get versus telemarketing. All right, so let's move on to the next one, and that is actually building equity in your vending business. There's 4 ways to build equity. Number 1 is assignable vending contracts. What does that mean? That means that after you provide, let's say, 60, 90 days of quality service to a business, that's when you want to get a contract signed with them. Once they sign that contract, you want to make sure that the contract they signed is what we call assignable. An assignable contract means whenever you sell your vending business, you can sell it with that contract in place and just sign the contract over to the other company. That way, there's no loss of service, and they actually are guaranteed that location because there's a contract with it. Second thing is American-made machines. You wouldn't believe how many people we see with machines from India, Pakistan, Chinese machines. Big vending companies, if you ever go to sell your vending business, they're going to laugh at those machines and throw them in the trash. They will literally throw them in the trash. They can't get parts for them. Their service techs won't take care of them. They have absolutely no value to a big vending company. Third thing is records of income. You've got to have, even if it's so simple as an Excel spreadsheet, you've just got to have records by month on how much machines are earning that you can show, a potential suitor, so you can, when you sell that business, they know how much you're actually making, and then you can usually sell it for maybe 1.5 times earnings for the year, or maybe 2 times earnings if you get lucky. The fourth thing here, this is really important, this is one of the most important things, is a high-ranking website, right? If you've got a website that is generating you new locations all the time, and you can sell that along with your vending business, let's say you're totally ready to get out, that has a ton of value to businesses. Anything else you want to say on building equity, Ron?
Just in terms of, with all due respect to, I know, again, because I've spoken to many of the people in this webinar, so there's a lot of people that have machines that were not made in the United States, and we're not trying to cut you down, okay? You already have the machines, that's fine. They'll serve their purpose, but for expansion, you should definitely think about going strictly American made. It will make all the difference in the world, because as Rob was saying, if you go to sell a route to Coca-Cola, they'll buy the route because of the fact that you've got records of income, but they'll literally throw the machines away. They won't even try to sell them. And as far as the high-ranking website, when you can show proof positive that it's showing up on the first page of Google and it's a good-looking website, that's worth its weight in gold. Oh, and there, look at all the gold on in the picture. But it is. It's worth its weight in gold. So that just gives such value to the whole scenario. It's crazy. So these 4 elements right here really, and then we can show you how you can build your business to a certain point, sell off half of it, keep some cash flow coming in, build it up again to that same size again, sell that half off again, and actually have your cake and eat it too at the same time. That is very possible to do.
Absolutely, Ron's right. And we've gone over quite a few things today, but I think the key here is that you've got the tools to do this, and we'll go through these tools one more time. But the one thing I want to say is if you're out there, you spent $10, $20, $30, $40,000, you're stuck with these machines, they're sitting in your garage. Ron talks to you, he talks to people like that all day long. You're not alone. There's so many people in that situation. There is hope. Trust me, there is hope. So, you have the tools. Let's kind of go through them here. Online marketing, have the website, put the ads up, draw the businesses in instead of trying to sell them. Have a clear call to action on your website. Request a free machine. You've got to make sure to have your service area mapped there so they know you're local, they know you're going to be able to provide excellent service to them because you're close. We call that proximity. The next thing is telemarketing, right? Who do you ask for? What do you say? And do they have a contract? You want to make sure that you cover all those bases when you're on the phone with them. And the other thing is, we didn't add this in here. We need to add that, but that is leave a voicemail with your website if you're not able to reach someone. There'll become a point 6 months down the road where you get a call. You know what? You left us a voicemail. I wrote down your website, and you know what? We're looking for vending service now. It happens. Also, the 4 keys to building equity: contracts, machines, records, and your website. You've got to have vending contracts. You've got to have American-made machines. You've got to have some type of income records, and you've got to have a high-ranking website. You can do it all on your own, or you can have us do it for you. I'm going to hand it over to Ron here so he can go over some of the stuff we offer. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, everybody on the webinar is their best salesperson. They are. It's your business. No one's going to sell your business, your service better than you. But there's a lot of people who are working full-time. They don't have the time to do it. They don't have the inclination to do it. They just don't want to pick up the phone. They don't know where to start. Even though we can guide people, they just don't know. They don't know where to get going. So, we've got Kickstart 360. And this is our middle package. We've got a smaller package and a larger package, but 85% of our customers go with this package right here because it includes 10 locations guaranteed. Now, it includes a website just like you saw, and also a logo creation. So you approve both the custom website and the logo. It includes 400 telemarketing phone calls. That's so important because you don't have to sit there and pick up the phone and call those businesses. You don't have to have that, you don't have to handle all that rejection like we were talking about. And then there's AdWords. You want to tell them about AdWords? Because you're the tech guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So AdWords, AdWords setup and the process of getting it all set up, is really important. We talked about doing split testing. So, testing, which ads run the best, what headlines get the most clicks. That's something that we've spent, years and years and years perfecting. It also comes with a $500 AdWords credit. That goes directly to Google. So you could really say the package is, $4,499 because that $500 goes straight to Google. We don't make a penny on it, and that all has to do with promoting your vending business. The next thing is email marketing. What is email marketing all about? It's kind of about educating people, right? So if someone is interested in your vending service, but maybe they're 6 weeks away from having their new break room completed, right? They're gonna be getting your emails all those 6 weeks. So when they're ready, you're in their mind. They're going to call you. That's what we call top of the mind marketing. Search engine optimization. This is key because you want your website to drive leads to you all the time, even if you're not paying for them, right? You don't want to have to pay for them forever. That's what the $500 ad credit goes to. But eventually, you want it just to be organic, right? You want it to show up in the top of Google without actually paying for it. So we do search engine optimization. A lot of that has to do with the title of the actual website, the call to action title, meta tag, some other stuff. Ron likes to call me the search engine guru. That might be a bit much, but we get it done for sure.
Well,
anyway.
I was going to say that a lot of the people on this webinar found us by doing a Google search. And so guess what? We're going to do the same thing for their business. When people are looking for their service in their area, we're going to make sure they show up the same way we showed up when they were looking for us. Pretty darn simple. If someone
put a 1 in that chat box if you found us online somewhere.
Sure, they all did.
Yeah, yeah. We've got one.
All they have to do right now while we're talking is Google vending locators or vending machine locators, and boom, we're right there. On YouTube, if they do a search vending locators, guess what? We're in the #1 spot. So that's the reality. And they're also going to get a 200,000 population protected territory. Now, what is that for? That's for not for the vending side of it as much as we have a reseller program. Our program is designed, and we're striving to make sure that everybody gets more locations than they have machines. The 10 locations is the guarantee. The first year you're going to get far more than that. If someone, I would have to venture to say that probably 30 to 40 would be a safe number the first year with the gold package. So that means that you're going to have either unwanted or unneeded locations. So don't throw those away. I mean, you want to keep that website up and running because it's your representative out there. So then you can now sell those locations to local competitors for $600, $700, $800 each. And it's very easy to do. We've got a contract, a legally binding contract, so that a potential customer of yours cannot steal that location from you. It was drawn up by an attorney, cost us $750 to have made. So you've got that as your protection, and then you literally meet them at the location and tell them to bring cash. And that's,
you know what? And let me jump in here real quick, Ron. This isn't just something that we're talking about. We actually do this.
right.
We get many locations in, and we actually do this. For people that aren't on our service, we actually, we resell those. We just sold one, I think, yesterday or the day before. I can't remember, but this is something we actually do. So go ahead, Ron.
I sold 3 today.
Okay.
Two or three today. Yeah,
Ron's
2
on
or
fire.
3 today. Yeah. So, I mean, and then we've also got the location contract, which is, again, drawn up by an attorney, a legally binding contract. You want to be in there for 60 to 90 days to get your thumb on the pulse of that location. The only reason they're going to want you out of there is if you have bad service. And obviously, we're going to say no one on this webinar is ever going to give bad service. So that means that that's a location that you're going to have for a long time, but you want to decide whether you want to keep that location, and so you wait the 60 to 90 days to see how the sales are going, and then you lock them in to an annual contract that is automatically renewed. And again, that's an assignable contract, so that if you want to sell the location and or the route, you can do so. Also, the lifetime coaching and support is it's worth its weight in gold, because you can pick up the phone and call us anytime, and our customers do it all the time, with any kind of a question, okay? I can't tell you how to fix your kitchen sink, but anything related to vending we can do. And that is, you know, there's no other locators out there that are going to do that. There's absolutely none at all that are going to do that. And then we've got the Vending Academy coming up. You want to tell them about that?
Yeah, sure. This is really exciting because, you know, what we've learned through doing this is that, you know, especially when locations come in through your website and things like that, you know, you don't know exactly what to do. So, you know, we teach you exactly what to say when a location comes in and they want one of your machines. You know, we'll show you how to actually call that business and set up the appointment to go out there and do what we call a site inspection to figure out, you know, what type of machines are in there, you know, where it's physically going to go, you know, they have enough space, electrical outlets, etc. Also, you know, the handling of the initial contract, you know, what to say when you get out there, and, you know, after that 60 to 90 day period, you know, what do you say to get them to actually sign the contract? I mean, it's really easy, but we teach you know what to say to them when you go out there. You know, also, you know, just how to properly run and service your machines. You know, a lot of people don't know exactly how often they should go out and service them, what they need to do when they go out there, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to teach you all of that stuff. And also regular webinars. You know, as the industry changes, you know, we'll cover specific issues. And we'll solve those, you know, with pinpoint accuracy. We'll tell you exactly what to do. The final thing is, let's talk about the Kickstart Gold 10 location guarantee. It's the first thing we offer here. We guarantee that as long as you're with us, you'll get at least 10 locations within the first 10 months, or we'll give you a $40 AdWords credit, which we say is the approximate cost of acquiring a location through online advertising for any missing locations, right? So we guarantee it, and we put our money where our mouth is. We make sure you're getting what you're paying for. We'll give you a credit, or we'll write you a check, or give you cash, you know, if anything. Do you want to say anything else there, Ron?
Well, in terms of the gear, one thing back to the academy is that you know, that's going to be where they can always go back and watch those videos time and time again, for one thing. So, you know, again, there's no other locating company out there that's doing anything like that, and that's starting it next month. We're going to have that up and running next month. But in terms of the guarantee, Rob is so good at SEO and AdWords, and having done all of the split testing, that he's now got it down to a science, and knowing that it's going to cost about $40 in AdWords credit to get one of our customers a location. So that's why we picked the $40 amount. It's not just something we grabbed out of the sky. We know that if, let's say, at the end of a year you only had 8 locations, we know you're going to do much better than that, but we only had 8. Okay, we can either give you the $80 credit and get you 2 more locations, because we know those 2 credits, that $80 is going to get you 2 more locations, or you can get the cash. So really what it is that's that leads me into the $59 a month. If you look up top here, it says plus $59 a month. The first 2 months are free. After that, you pay us $59 a month, and 50 of it goes right to Google. And what is it for? It's for towards your AdWords credit. So that means we know that for 10 months out of that first year, that you're going to get at least 1 location per month, okay, just from AdWords alone. Not even the SEO, not even the telemarketing, not even the email, which is a whole bunch of other locations coming in. We know that too. So, and then $9 goes towards the hosting. So the $59, ultimately, what it really is, everybody, is that's our guarantee that, yes, you're going to get more locations, but it's our guarantee that we won't have to do what? Honor your guarantee of 10 locations guaranteed in a year. Does that make sense, Rob, how I explain that? So that
yeah, absolutely. The only difference is we change it to the first 10 months because we want it to be 1 and 1. But
right,
yeah,
right, it's 10 months, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
absolutely.
so that's really what it boils down to, and that makes such a big difference because again, that's just it's their dollars at work. I mean, it's not, we're not, the $50 doesn't go to us, it goes right to that AdWords credit. And so it's $9 for hosting. Well, that's what HostGator charges. So that's not an exorbitant amount to host a website. We're not, so what do? We make a little bit up front, yes, and then after that, people have to understand if that website is up for 5 years, 5 years down the road, it's still bringing in locations, and guess what? They're only paying $59 a month. So we're not getting any more out of that. So if they got 100 locations in 5 years, then guess what? That's pretty inexpensive when you back off the website, you back off the AdWords credit, and all of that. They're paying $50 a location, not even $50 a location. So it's literally unlimited locations for life.
It is. And, let me just say, it's taken over 9 years for us to perfect all this. I mean, you can do it on your own, you really can, but it is a lot of trial and error. It's kind of up to you. Let's go into, some of the, the most popular types of locations, because I think this is something that people are interested in. What type of locations, do we go after? What is it? So anyway, here we go. Here are some of the top ones that we go after. We're talking about corporate offices, high-traffic retail locations. In fact, it's so funny because right before this webinar started, we had another location come in. What would they have? I think 20 employees, but 200 foot traffic per day. You saw that location, Ron. What was that?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now because I printed it out just 2 minutes before the webinar started. It's in California. They sell auto parts. They have 28 employees with 200 customers a day, and this is what they inputted into the form. It's right outside of LA, and I'm telling you, that's a great account. That's a great account right there. That's going to be a nice little moneymaker. And that came in just 10 minutes before the webinar started.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's probably $1,000 a month account there. I mean, that's a good one. It really is.
Sure. Yeah.
But anyway, these are the types of locations we target. Larger hotels and motels, apartment complexes, large factories, distribution centers, schools, colleges, truck stops, churches, YMCA's, rec centers. Let's go through just a few of them that we brought in. You'll notice we blurred some of them out. The reason we do that is, for the protection of our customers. Some of these locations are worth thousands of dollars, the big ones. But anyway, here's just a couple that came in the last week or so. This is a big chemical manufacturing plant in Baytown, Texas. 100 employees. They get some visitors every day. We've got a college in Boynton Beach, Florida. We blurred it out, but it was actually I think the dean of the school, Dr. something or other, that requested that one. Just came in. 70-employee office building in Kingston, New York. I mean, office buildings are great. I mean, not only do they have 75 full-time employees, but they also have about 100 visitors a day. You can kind of see on this little page, this is what the actual locations look like as they come in. We give you the name of the contact person, the business name, phone number, email, address, and then all the other information they give us, so you know exactly what it is. Question and comments. We're looking for one beverage and one snack. Next one here. A 328-unit apartment building, Fort Myers, Florida. That's an awesome location. I mean, that is going to do so well. Next one here, 80-employee office building in Tampa, Florida. A large hotel in Niagara Falls. Actually, Ron just sold this one, believe it or not. 91 units. They have 91 employees. I forgot. They don't actually have 91 units. They have a lot of units. They have 91 employees in this hotel. It's a huge one. Next one here is 70-employee hotel management company. 700 employee management hotel management company. So it's a hotel management company. They've got 700 employees and 1,000 visitors. That's on a daily basis.
I just wanted to say that one's in New York City. I mean, just think about the kind of business that kind of account can produce. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be that location there is worth probably $5,000 to $10,000. $5,000 to $10,000 for that single location.
Easy.
So anyway, let's go through some of the, and by the way, that's the other thing, 80% of the leads that come in are through the website. No one else in the industry does that. They're only picking up the 20% that you get through telemarketing and banging on doors. They're missing out on the 80% of the great businesses. Because where do you think corporations go that need vending service? They hop online. They're not waiting for someone to bang on their door. All right, let's move on to the, oh, by the way, there's one little secret thing that we do. We don't talk about it, until you come on board with us. Some of you are actually here because you didn't even know about it. But it is also, how we bring in these locations. That's how you also got here. Once you come on board, we do talk about that. We'll let you know exactly what it is. But I want to get to, this is actually a video. I'm not going to play it right now. Here's one of our clients, Taria Bowens. She's a real nice lady. After they put our Google AdWords together, we were getting calls instantly. They do what they say they're going to do. Some more over here. I got roughly 4 machines placed over a 6-week period, additional 3 strong leads, and more coming in every week. It was about 2 weeks before we got a first major hit, a very large company that has over 100 employees. Another one, Kickstart, our industry leaders, no matter a large established corporation or small sole proprietor, the startup and turnaround time, location result are guaranteed to surpass your expectations. These are what our clients are saying about us. Now let's go to a little comparison chart. There are some other companies out there. Whoop, there's Taria. Here's a comparison chart. Yeah, Taria, she's great. But here's a comparison chart of a company called Vend Central. Their package is $4,000. It's a little bit less than ours, but they don't guarantee you. There's no location guarantee. We do more pages on the website. We do everything else that they do. We don't do a blog, right? Why don't we do a blog? Nothing hurts a company more than a blog that hasn't been updated in months.
Right.
They're just way too easy to forget about, and they produce little to no results. I'm telling you, we forget to update ours all the time. No one wants to have to rely on updating their blog. And if you go to a blog that doesn't have a post for 3 or 4 months, you're like, okay, that company might not even be in business. Some other things we provide, they don't for that for our package. $500 goes directly to AdWords. They don't give you that. We do 400 telemarketing calls. They don't do any telemarketing. We give you the location contract for the business. We give you the reseller contract so you can resell extra location. You're going to get the Kickstart 360 Vending Academy, and they charge extra fees for images or something. We don't charge any extra fees for images. That's kind of crazy. So anyway, if we did,
I just wanted to say they've gone. What they've done is they have taken a website, and they do a good website. I have to tell you, it's a good website that they do. It's not as detailed as ours, but it's a decent website. But what they've done is they've gone and they've just gone after a certain niche. They found out that a lot of people getting in that are spending 30, 40, 50 grand on machines figure, oh, what the heck, $4,000 for a website's not a lot of money, okay? And you know what? I guess if you're spending 50 grand on machines, $4,000 for a website isn't a lot of money. But why not get some locations out of it? So and they're smart because they've gone after a niche and they've thought, yeah, let's take a website that we could normally charge $1,500 for, and because we're going after people that are starting up in the vending industry or have been in the industry a while, let's charge them 3.5 times or 2.5 times as much money for the same website. So I mean, that's all it is. It's just niche marketing is really what it is.
Yeah, Ron's right. We're focused all about results, right? It's all about getting locations for you, and how do we do that, right? That's why the Kickstart location guarantee is there. That's why we give you the $500 ad credit. That's why we do the telemarketing calls. That's why we pay our telemarketer $30 an hour instead of having a guy that's a dead fish on the other end of the line for $9 an hour, right? That's a very expensive telemarketer, probably the most expensive you can hire, to sit on the phone all day. If all Kickstart 360 did for you was get you maybe a measly, one extra high traffic location, maybe per month, right? If we got you one extra location per month, okay, that was doing, let's say, $500 a month in income, that's an extra $6,000 a year. So let's multiply that times 10 locations, right? You get one a month for 10 months. That's 10 locations doing $500 a month. That's $60,000 a year, right? you have to understand, machines are 10% of the equation. Locating is 90%. What if you got one high traffic location per week, right? How far can you scale your business? How much can you grow your business? That's what it's all about. You know what? I want to kind of say this. You know, if you're not with us, you're against us. I'll be honest with you. We're going to eat you for lunch because, you know, all the leads in your area, that, you know, all the locations in your area that someone told you that you were going to get or that you could get, we're going to get them because we're the ones out there marketing. Anyway, Ron, why don't you do the Lambo thing right here?
Well, you know, here's the reality. I say this to people all the time. If you bought a brand new Lamborghini and you spent 250 grand on a Lamborghini, and you drove it for 25,000 miles, and then it needed tires, would you then go out and buy the cheapest tires you could, knowing that it's now not going to be able to corner like a Lamborghini can? Well, of course not. You'd be crazy to. You're going to go and buy Z-rated tires that are the most expensive because why? You want to do the off-ramps on 95 or whatever your highway is at 125 miles an hour and hug the road. So it just doesn't make sense to go with the least expensive locator out there because guess what? We always hear people coming back 3 months, 4 months later. I should have gone with you. You told me it would happen, and I didn't believe you. I'm telling you, we hear it all the time, okay? So why be cheap on the most important part? Because, you know, there's people on this call that don't believe us. But, you know, the machines, pretty machines mean nothing. Location is everything. It really is. Now, is the machine part of it? Yes, it's a small part of it, but I'm telling you, it's 10%. It really is. It's all location. That's what it boils down to.
It is. And you know what? And here's how we can, here's one way we can prove it to you. Not all the companies, some companies out there selling these big machines, selling the machines, they send us their business after they sell the machines. Why? Because they can't do it themselves and they're scared that, you know, what's going to happen to them after the client leaves them, right? They all should be doing it. They all should be doing it. But the ones that do are the ones that aren't getting the calls, you know, all day long. Well, I got the machines. Where's my location? It happens all the time. So let's go into the bonuses for attending. There's a quick little survey to fill out, 1 or 2 questions. After that, we're going to send you, if you don't have it already, you'll get the 7 Secrets to Creating a Massively Successful Vending Business. Great little book, gives you a ton of great tips. The other thing we're going to give you just for attending is the location reseller contract. It's a really great contract we put together. Enables you to resell locations, you know, if they're locations you don't want to use. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. I'm going to pop in this address right into the chat box here. So anyone who's on this, and by the way, we got more. Okay, that's great. That's great. I'm going to pop this in here so everyone can get that link to fill out the survey. Stay on here for a few more minutes, though, because we got some more stuff to talk about, some really interesting stuff. But that survey, that will give you, once you fill that out, you'll get the contract and the bonuses totally free of charge here. So really, you have 2 options, right? Option 1 is failure and giving up, right? You're stuck with machines, the wife's mad at you, you're making little to no money. If you do sell the machines, you're losing money. Or if you go with another locator, you're going to waste even more money, get bad locations, and be back to us anyway. You know, so who is someone that goes with option number 1, right? We've kind of distilled this down. Number 1, they're believing the BS of these other companies that are, you know, promising, you know, we're going to make a phone call or we're going to go knock on a door and we're going to get you these massive accounts. That's craziness. It just doesn't happen. Number 2, if you don't understand internet marketing, you don't understand that Google and Yahoo are the new yellow pages of the world. You know, it has spent a lot of money on machines, and now they're scared to spend a little bit more. Again, 90% locations, 10% machines. You're penny wise, you're pound foolish. We've heard that saying time and time again. Or there's a better way, and that is option number 2. We call that success and location domination. I love that, location domination. Love it. So the option number 2 is you can join the Kickstart 360 family. You can utilize our proven system. We've been in the business for over 9 years between Ron and I, just us, not counting everyone else we got on board. Just us on the webinar now, we've got 36 years combined experience We're tried and true. You're either with us or you're against us. So who is someone that goes with option number 2, right? You understand 21st century marketing. You understand the value of the internet, the new yellow pages. You understand the have them come to you mentality, qualifying the locations online, getting them to come to you instead of constantly having to sell. Someone who doesn't want to sell, there we go. Values their time, doesn't want to waste their time doing all of this. And finally, realize that this is an unlimited locations for life formula. Once you build it all up, it's kind of set it and forget it. So right now, I'm going to let Ron tell you about our 72-hour special. Go ahead, Ron.
And one thing I wanted to mention is that, these people have to understand that, if you were going to sell your car, would you want to just, hop on yellowpages.com and call a bunch of businesses and say, hey, I'm selling my 2012 Maxima, or would you rather just put an ad on Craigslist or cars.com and have people call you? Well, it's so simple. Everybody wants to go the easier route. So what we're creating is a way for people to now have this set it and forget it business where the leads are just going to be coming in, the locations are coming in month after month after month. And when you make someone come to you, instead of you going to them, it's more qualified, and now they're already positioned properly. So now the ball is in your court, you take control, and now you decide if you want that business, you want your machine in that business, rather than them making you jump through hoops and you having to sell them on why they need to take your machine.
Absolutely. Ron is so right. That's the biggest difference, right? If all you're doing is calling on business or going door to door, you've still got to sell them on you when you get in there. Yeah. There has never been a location that has come into Ron or I where we had to do any selling whatsoever. Yeah. They want the service. They're like, well, when all we do is call up and say, when are we coming out to set the site inspection to see what type of machines we're going to put in there. There's no selling required when they come to you. They're already sold.
Right, and that's great because I hate rejection. I get enough of that from women. But anyway, we got. I had to throw that in there. Everybody knows that. But we have a special till Sunday night, and so for the first 6 that come on board, they're going to save $1,000. It's our gold package, and this is on any one of the packages actually. So. Our gold package is now going to be down to $39.99 if you sign up by Sunday night. So the packages are actually they're now $39.99, $49.99, and $59.99. So you could subtract $1,000 from each one of them.
And by the way, that puts us below the competition, and they guarantee you nothing. They guarantee you nothing.
Right. And so yeah, if anybody does have any questions in the meantime, there's my number. You can give me a call. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. And I think you were going to stick around for a couple of minutes because we're over the hour mark now. So you got time to answer just a few questions?
Well, you know what? Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to show them, how to actually go ahead and order. Okay. All you do is you go to our website, you click on the pricing tab. It's instantly going to scroll you down here, and where you can see our 3 packages. We've been talking about the gold package tonight. Instead of $4,999, it's going to be $3,999. You can reduce $1,000 on all of these. It tells you exactly what they come with. So you can see, the silver's 5 location guarantee. Move on up. But any package you choose, as long as you order by Sunday midnight Eastern Standard, is going to be reduced by $1,000. All you do is you click the Add to Cart button. You can pay with any major credit card or PayPal as well. It's super simple. Click pricing and just move down here.
And one thing I wanted to throw in, Rob, is that when they click on the Add to Cart, they're going to see a page that outlines everything that they're getting for their in their order. So it's not like it's a guessing game. Look, it tells you everything right there as we've explained it. We're completely transparent. No smoke and mirrors here. It is what it is. It's all laid right out there for you. So
absolutely.
And when they call me, they'll get a promo code that we can put right in there. See at the bottom it says promo code. When they call me, I'll give them, or actually they can email me
Yeah, all you got to do is email or call Ron, and the subject line when you email or call Ron, all you got to do, if you call Ron too, I'll let you say this: say Kickstart 360 is for me, and he'll give you the coupon code for $1,000 off. He's going to stick around for about a half an hour after this webinar. All you got to do is call him or shoot him an email, say Kickstart 360 is for me, and he will give you that coupon code.
And I just want to throw in, but don't do that if you're not going to do the deal, because that's the thing, is that, this is to save time, energy, and money. So I mean, if you're still kicking tires, then that's fine, but don't reach out to me, please. Okay.
Absolutely. And by the way, this is only, I don't even know if we said it, it's on the slide though. This is only for the first six people that do it. We can't do it unlimited, but for the first 6, you will save $1,000. After that, the coupon code will no longer work after that. So, but anyway, we got just a few minutes left. We can take some quick questions. We've got a lot of people on here tonight, so we're probably not going to be able to answer them all. But if we don't get to your question, don't worry. Call Ron. He said he's going to stick around for about 30 more minutes after this. He'll get them answered. So let me pull this up and let's see what questions are coming in here. Again, we just have a few minutes. We can't stay on here too long. All right. Here come the questions. Okay. So what happens when a location comes in, right? So from telemarketing. So when a location comes in from telemarketing, you're going to get a few things. Number one, you're going to get business name, address, name of the person whom we spoke with, information about the business, number of employees, all that good stuff. And then you're also going to get a recording of the actual conversation with them. So you'll know exactly what it is that they said, on the call. So when you go in there, you know exactly what to say. Hold on, there's some more questions. Let me see here.
One thing I wanted to mention too is that if people don't want to utilize our service and they want to do this on their own, and they've got a question or two, I'd be more than happy to answer them and help them with it. Am I going to spend hours on the phone with them? No. But if if somebody wants to try to do all this on their own and they got a question or two, I'd be more than happy to help them. I really would. I mean, I say that sincerely. So, this isn't all about the money. We're here to help people, but at the same time, if they try it, they're gonna find out it's not easy.
No, yeah, I mean, we're absolutely here. This is not, we're not just selling something that we don't believe in. We believe in this, and we're here to help people. And we work with so many vendors, and our goal is to make you successful, regardless whether you're on board with us or not. We want to make you successful. Okay, here's another questions coming in. About about the locations through the website. So what happens? So here's what happens. So when a business requests service, right, they fill out the form on your website. From there, we coach you exactly what to do. The location's already requested service. After that, the first step is actually setting up a site visit where you can go out to that business and see exactly what it is they need and what machines are going to work best for them. So, if it's a combo machine, it's a combo machine. If it's, so a big soda and snack machine, you go out there and you can kind of guide them. The businesses don't know much about vending. It's your opportunity to guide them. So if you've only got combo machines, it's okay. So, we can put in 2 combo machines. But yeah, so that's how it works. You don't have to provide the exact the exact machines that a business asks for. You tell them that you're going to do a site inspection, and then after that you decide what what type of machines you want to put in there.
Right. I wanted to do a quick little breakdown. If you take the $39.99 and you subtract out, let's say, even $1,000, you got $39.99, and then you got $1,000, let's say, as a minimum for the website. Our website's really, if you went to have one made, it's going to cost you $1,500. But let's just say it's $1,000. That brings it down to $3,000. You have $500 for the AdWords credit. That's now $2,500, right? Let's divide that by the 10 locations minimum. Now you're down to $250 a location. That's cheaper than the scammers charge.
And that doesn't even include all the contracts and stuff.
Right.
We actually have one more question coming in. Do we set up the machines, or does that responsibility lie with me? No, the responsibility of actually going out there and putting in the machine does that is you. You actually have to go out there. We can't do it all for you. You've got to go out there and actually put the machine in.
They got to do something for the money.
Right, exactly. Anyway, listen, I've got to get out of here. I've got a call I've got to get to. Ron's going to stick around for 30 more minutes. If anyone has any questions, don't hesitate to give Ron a call. His number is right down here, 800-640-3598, extension 2. Again, email him or call him. His email, you know what, let me type his email in the system, and so everyone has it. It's ron@vendinglocators360.com, but I'm going to type it in the chat box.
So and they just send me an email, and they put in the subject line, Kickstart 360 is for me. Kickstart 360 is for me. Then I will send them back the coupon code. Or they can call them. Either one. I'll be here for a little while. And we can take
60 is for me. If you call Ron, you've got to say that. You've got to say it on the phone. And Ron loves hearing that on the phone. You've got to say Kickstart 360 is for me on the phone. Anyway, it's been wonderful. Thanks everyone for attending. I cannot believe how many people we had on tonight. That's amazing. We're loving it. This is our biggest webinar yet. We're very excited to have everyone on board. And again, thank you guys again. And Ron's going to be around for about 30 more minutes on phone or email if you need anything. All right, y'all. Have a great one. Thank you again, Ron. Appreciate everyone being here.
Okay. Have a good one, everybody. Take care.